I'm a PlayStation superhero and the world is my video game. Words spoken by the perpetrator of one of Hong Kong's most cruel and horrific murders. Our moment in crime is the Hello Kitty murder. If it wasn't for a teenage girl's claims that she was being haunted by the ghost of a woman she helped to kill, then one of the most infamous murders the world has ever known may have gone undetected. In May 1999, police began to investigate an abandoned apartment located in the commercial district of Hong Kong. Police had been led there by the teenage girl, whose identity has never been revealed, after she informed them of the murder that had happened there. The authorities were initially skeptical of the girl's claims, not wanting to believe that such a young person could be involved in a gruesome crime. But the apartment on Granville Road did have a terrible secret, one which was about to be brought to Hong Kong's attention. A single tooth found on the apartment floor indicated to the police that the girl was not lying. The police investigated further and found that body parts had been stored in the refrigerator. It was the next find that would grab the public's attention and secure the case a notorious place in the history of crime. A Hello Kitty mermaid doll had been left in the apartment, and stuffed inside the doll's head was a skull. The skull belonged to Fan Man Yi, aka Armap, a 23-year-old exotic dancer. Why had this young woman been killed, and why had attempts been made to destroy all evidence that the woman had existed? Armap's short life had been a difficult one. She grew up in an orphanage and became involved in prostitution and drugs by the time she turned 16. Her husband was a drug addict, and she did her best to support her infant child by working at the Empress Karaoke Bar and moonlighting at the Romance Hotel, a pay-by-the-hour brothel. Armap herself was addicted to ice. It was in 1997 that Armap met 34-year-old Chan Man Lok, aka Big Brother, at the Romance Hotel, where he became a regular client of hers. Big Brother was involved in crime and pimping, and he also dealt with ice. Armap had become all too familiar with Big Brother's violent ways, and she decided to cut him out of her life. But as she attempted to leave Big Brother firmly in the past, she stole a wallet from him that held $4,000. Armap decided to return the money as soon as she could. Fearing how the man would react, she even gave him a further $10,000. Big Brother, however, was determined to get revenge. Big Brother arranged to have Armap abducted from her home on the 17th of March 1999. Leung Shin Cho, aged 27, and Leung Wai Lun, aged 21, would do the dirty work and take her to the apartment at 31 Granville Road. Waiting for them at the apartment was Big Brother's 14-year-old girlfriend, who would later break down and confess to the crime. Big Brother's original plan was to use Armap as a sex slave. He wanted to sell her services to other people and take all the money for himself. But he began beating her so brutally that no one wanted to pay for her services. Big Brother's plan for Armap soon changed. Armap began to suffer regular beatings at the hands of all three men. The teenage girl told police that it was a game they played. If she didn't pretend to be happy, they would beat her harder. They told her to laugh and smile while they burnt her. It was a fun atmosphere. When Armap wasn't being subjected to violence, the men would take ice and play video games. The teenage girl was a runaway and lived in the apartment while the abuse took place. She even participated in Armap's beatings, as she wanted to know what it was like to hurt someone. The abuse soon turned into more than just beatings. Spices were rubbed into her wounds, her feet were burned with lighters, and hot wax was dripped onto her skin. Armap had to consume her own human waste, and refusal to do so or gagging would lead to a beating. At this point in the ordeal, Armap no longer spoke and was mostly unconscious. In order to make it easier to carry out their cruel acts, Armap's abusers tied her to a ceiling fan with electrical cord. She would often be left like that overnight. On the 15th of April, the group decided to head out for the day. Our map was locked inside the bathroom. It was a teenage girl who found our map dead in that room the next day. It was Big Brother who made the decision to turn our map into thin air. After being dismembered in the bath, some of our map's body parts were put in the refrigerator. The rest of her body, apart from her head, is believed to have ended up at a landfill site. Our map's head was then boiled in a pan. As that process took place, another pan full of noodle soup cooked next to it. Finally, our map's skull was hidden in the Hello Kitty mermaid doll. The apartment was then vacated. After the 14-year-old's confession, the 3 men were brought before the court of first instance in November 2000. All 3 men were found guilty of manslaughter. The jury had concluded that the group's intention had not been to kill our map. The jury felt that her death was a result of the abuse she had received, as it could not be determined exactly how she had died. Psychiatric reports described the men as remorseless and pitiful, and all 3 men received sentences of 20 years with no chance of parole. The apartment building on Granville Road was torn down in 2012. As for the girl, she escaped prosecution because of her age, her remorse, and the fact that she came forward. She says that every night she is haunted by the ghost of our map. Thank you for watching this episode of One Moment in Crime. Tune in next week for a new episode. I wish you pleasant nightmares.